Every shift starts the same way, with intent and purposeful preparation. Gear double and triple checked, making sure you're ready for the day. But once you step outside, nothing about the day is guaranteed. You face the unpredictable, the weight of decisions that matter. That's why Gauls stands behind the uniform, to provide the reliability and support that helps you stay ready. Supporting the hero behind the uniform. Gauls is proud to serve those who serve.
There was 4 Somali pirates with AK-47s. We took one of them hostage in the steering gear room with us, and then the other 3, the captain talked them into getting in the lifeboat. But now they got our captain lifeboat, and they got him hostage. They want an American captain to hold for ransom, and we're trying to run him down and get him back right now. That's what we're doing. That's the whole story. I got to go. I'm piloting the ship.
In April 2009, a routine cargo run in the Indian Ocean became a global crisis. Somali pirates stormed the Maersk, Alabama, taking Captain Richard Phillips hostage after he offered himself to save his crew. For 5 days, he was held at gunpoint on a lifeboat in open waters as U.S. Navy destroyers closed in. Hunger, exhaustion, and miscalculations mounted, until a single split-second decision by Navy SEAL snipers ended the standoff and changed maritime security forever.
Hey, welcome back to Season 4 of Gold Shields. This is Dan Murphy along with my partner in crime, Tom Smith. Can you believe it, Tom? Season 4.
No, it's like pinching time, like slap yourself in the face, to realize where we're at. After the beginning we had, with $20 mics and sitting in closets and hoping to God, a connection went through. And me and you holding our breath literally for an hour that something didn't drop. But Dan, listen, we're blessed, to be in this position. And
We are.
it's the thanks to everyone who joins us year after year after year, now after year. Supporting us is the biggest thing. So thanks to everyone for putting us in this position to be here, bringing you the best guests around.
And so we have kept a lid on who our Season 4 kickoff guest is going to be, but we have to let the cat out of the bag now. I'm going to let you introduce him, Tom, because it is an absolute honor to even be speaking to this man, and we have him on our show. So, Tom, tell us who we got.
When we look back and guess that we have, and then we get to a point of having this individual and this man on, is more of a reason to shake your head. We have today Captain Rich Phillips. Captain Phillips. Yes, the actual Captain Phillips, not Tom Hanks, the real guy who went through this ordeal that became a major motion picture and was one of the best movies I've seen. Just the production of it, the story, and everything.
Absolutely.
And we have Rich here today to hear this story from his mouth, from his perspective. And you know what? There's not a lot of more introduction to do, Dan. Captain Rich Phillips, it is an absolute honor to have you on our season premiere show. Welcome to Gold
Good
Shields.
morning. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I got you out of the closet. We're in a nice open space now.
Perfect.
Well, I'm going to call you Captain just because I think it's appropriate. And you've earned the title, certainly. But, I think a lot of the world saw the movie. They saw the movie that's about your experiences on the Maersk, Alabama, in the ocean, the Indian Ocean, off the east coast of Africa. Tom Hanks portrayed you. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you probably never envisioned in your life, did you, that you'd be involved?
No, one thing I've learned, I'm sure you folks know too, usually attention gets to be negative. So in my business, and I'm sure your business, what you guys did, usually when you get attention, it's not good. So through my career, I've tried to boost my anonymity. And that's one thing I've lost. Because one thing I've seen in shipping, when you're the fair-headed boy, when you're doing everything good, there's only one way to go, and that's down. So I've always enjoyed my anonymity. I've always tried to stay behind the scenes. because I think that's important when you get a face out there, especially today, with everything that's going on. You get the haters, you get everything else. For me, I've had my 15 minutes. I don't consider myself a hero. I just did my job, and I think that's something that people can take away from this. Just doing your job. We have heroes every day we don't recognize. You folks, the police, the fire, the teachers, every day, and by just doing their job, they are a hero.
Well, that's something coming from you, Cam, and it means a lot, being what you went through and the leadership that you showed during that ordeal, and that we're gonna get into. But like every good show, we're gonna build up to that. We're not gonna give everyone everything right away. So listen, 2009, the early part of the year, what are you doing? What's going on? How did you prepare for each trip that you were doing with the constant threats that were out there, in the routes that you were taking? How did you prepare your crew and yourself mentally to get ready for these trips that you knew could pose a danger?
Really, for me, I've been in that area for 4.5, 5 years. I never left the area. I was on a shuttle ship in the Indian Ocean. For me, piracy is just one of the things that we deal with and have to be prepared with, drill for. Today, the men and women out there today don't worry about pirates too much. They were worried about drones and missiles. So it's escalated for more. So it's not just fire, it's not just piracy, it's not just enclosed space, it's not just medical emergencies that we train for, but that's really what we do when we drill. So for me, I joined the ship on March 30th, 2009 in Salal, Oman. And ships were actually being taken just outside that port. So for me, there was no calm time. There was no peace time. There was no time you could relax and get complacent. You had to be ready to go at all times. So when I joined, much like you saw in the movie, I noticed that security wasn't where it was at. And so I asked my chief mate, who just came on, Shane Murphy, who did a great job. I asked him to snap it up, get it back. He knows where I wanted it. And he had a ton of work, more work than me, and that's what he did. He got the ship ready, secured, locked down, and for us to leave. Because indeed, the next morning we left for Djibouti to start the voyage. So for me, it was just being ready. I saw that security wasn't where it should have been, wasn't where it was going to stay. So I decided to have an unannounced drill to see where my crew stood. And they already had that drill, but I saw lapses, I saw unlocked doors, I saw a little complacency, and I thought I had to address it. So for me, I just addressed it with a drill. And I got to say, the movie's name is Captain Phillips. There was 18 other men out there besides Captain Phillips, and they were instrumental in the positive outcome for them and me. My crew had my back, and I think by having that drill, it allowed them to act in a new, innovative situation without me. And isn't that what our great leaders do? Not only give credit to their people, but also let them take action, let them be responsible. I really think that's an important thing for every leader. And we got to remember, this is one thing I feel that we do have a lack of, and that's training. And that's the most important thing I think for leaders to train. It gave my crew that wherewithal. We were able to fail at the first two steps and still succeed in the overall battle, I guess, of the war. We lost the battle because they made it to my main deck. But, in difficult situations, as you folks know, you got to go to the next step. You can't quit. You have to persevere. As many as our failures do, we never know how close to success. So we are with that last failure. You just have to keep going. So for me, I started from a failure. They made it on my deck. Maybe it's hubris on my side, but really the way I addressed it was by just having that drill, giving someone a chance to have that first, a second step, because when things start happening, as you know, you don't have time to talk or think. It's really body memory, muscle memory to what you're trained for. So for me, it was just preparing because we were in an area that is commonplace.
So this is April of 2009, and at the time, Somali activity with piracy was fairly common. You were well aware of that. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Um, so in terms of security itself on the boat, you had your own protocols, you had what you could pull up, what you could make more difficult, etc. But you didn't have any physical security, any security agents, any armed personnel or staff. That's correct?
That is correct. At that time, the only people who had armed security really were the passenger ships. They hold more valuable cargo than I do. So really, it wasn't rare. But I will say, I've been a captain of 15 different ships. It was the first ship I ever been on that didn't have a weapon. I was actually in the office a month or two before, and that's one of the big things we discussed was security. A lot of businesses want us to discuss, the budgets and cost and this, but we were really, I was with two other captains. We talked about security, and they just let it know, no, we're not going to put weapons on that ship. I wasn't chartered to Maersk. I worked for a U.S. company for Maersk. And so Maersk doesn't believe in weapons. They believe, Americans are having guns fall out of their pocket. We're shooting each other all the time, which may be true to some extent, but they thought the potential for us hurting ourselves was greater than protecting ourselves. So if you leave a seaman to his own devices, we pretty much come up with the fire hoses, which I only had, I believe it was 6, not what you saw in the movie. And that was just a posture to show them that we were ready. We had lights, we had the hoses, we had the whistle, we had axes, we had things to throw down on boats. But on that ship, the only ship I ever been on that didn't have a weapon, that's all we had. So when left to your own devices, you just try and build things. Like, as we said, we had pirate cages where we'd build cages, put it over the stairwells, and then lock it. But one thing I didn't foresee, maybe human hubris, they're able to shoot through those locks pretty quick once they made it on deck. So it was a pretty quick evolution once we know we were being followed.
Okay. All right. So people waited long enough, about 10 minutes now. So let's get into this. April 8th, 2009. Take us through seeing this boat coming towards you and take it from there. The real life movie. Let's hear it, Captain.
All right. Well, it was the second day. The day before, we were followed by 3 skips. Actually, we were doing a fire and boat drill on that day, and I thought I saw a mothership, which by going by their procedures, piracy procedures, they follow the ship just over the horizon, and they send the skiffs out. I was looking out during the drill, and I was the only one on the bridge. I like my crew to be involved in all the drills. And I saw what I thought was a bow wave, but I wasn't sure, astern of us. So I actually called my chief mate, and I asked him to send this guy up. I really don't remember his name. He was Polish originally, but I had sailed with him for the 3 days I'd been on, and I knew he had very good vision because he was seeing things I couldn't see until they were on the radar. So I asked him to send that guy up. I gave him the binoculars when he arrived on the bridge, and I said, "Look astern of us and tell me what you see." He came back and he said he saw 3 bow waves. And you sure? He goes, yes, I can see him. He had very good eyes. So him and I were there. I then informed the chief mate that situation we were in. Due to the weather, we were able to get away from him. The chief engineer first went to the engine room, away from the drill, and then we practiced our procedures with spinning up the ship, going faster, to see what we could do. Then we went into our procedures. They weren't able to get us, so that night we got away, and we felt pretty comfortable. Our procedures seemed to work. We were successful on that first day, but it's important on shipping not to be complacent. The next morning, about 6:45, one of my crew on the bridge spots a small, thin wooden boat with a high-powered motor on the aft end coming on fast, about 21 knots, about the limit of visibility, 3.5 miles. And it was coming on fast. We knew we were going to be overtaken. And then we went into our procedures. The chief mate started down, third mate came up. We once it got within about a mile of my stern, they got the quiet waters of our wake. They're coming on faster. We sound the alarm. We get the crew mustered and staged into the safe room. and then we get prepared for our procedures. Pretty much the skiff came down, the quiet water was of our wake, came off our port beam, and one of the pirates is sitting cross-legged, firing his AK up at me as I was jumping up and down on the port bridge wing. Like a jack-in-the-box, I fire off my rocket-propelled flares and then duck behind the wind dodger as a pirate in the forward end lifts in, holds up erect a beautiful white ladder, and they start closing on my port side. With our evasive maneuvering, they bounced off the first time. The second time, before they ricocheted off my hull, the pirate in the forward end hooked that ladder onto my fish plate, and he started climbing up the side of the Maersk Alabama. And this began the last of my overt calls to my crew, and I informed them, pirates aboard, pirates aboard. By this time, most of my crew was in the safe room. Some of my engine crew were behind locked doors in the engine control room, in the after steering gear room, where they know that they can take control of this ship by bypassing the controls that go up to the bridge. And because of the drills that we had a few days before, the doors that should have been locked are locked. We prepared for the worst, and even though the best is yet to happen, we're as ready as we can be. So once they made it to the deck, we failed. Now we go to the next step to try and correct it.
Looking for powerful defense without the mess? Meet Impact, a revolutionary line of chemical irritants designed for law enforcement, military, and personal protection. With no blowback, no cross-contamination, and easy cleanup, Carry Impact delivers unmatched stopping power without the hassle. Whether you're in the field or on the street, safety should never be compromised. Protect yourself with the next generation of defense. Carry Impact, stopping power redefined.
Patriot is a premium whiskey hard seltzer. We've carefully crafted 4 flavors that not only taste exceptional, but can be enjoyed on any occasion, anytime. We're committed to giving back 5% of all profits to the core groups we call the backbone of America. We are proud to help those who serve our great country. This is America's Seltzer, the brand that stands for quality, community, and the American spirit.
So tell us about the next step. What was that next step?
When they first started boarding the ship, 2 had made it to the main decks, 2 still climbing up. I'm still firing my expired rocket-propelled flares down on the main deck. I come into the bridge, and when my next procedure is to secure the bridge, even though it's all glass, secure the bridge, lock the doors, head to the safe room with the guys. When out of the corner of my eye, I saw a pirate. We learned later, the leader of the pirates. He had an AK. He walked to the port bridge ring, he held it vertical, fired twice, and then lowered it to the horizontal, walking into the bridge saying, relax, Cap, relax, just business, no cater, relax, Cap, just business. I was able to turn, and with my radio at my hip, I announced to my crew, pirates on the bridge. So from that point on, I still had some contact through that radio that they let me carry all the way into the lifeboat. But I was in limited contact with my crew from that point on. And basically, my third mate, my AB, and myself were under gunpoint on the bridge with the 4 pirates.
So the conversation on the bridge, what did they want? Like, was it just strictly, hey, whatever cash you have on there, that's what we want, and we're out of here? And then how did that conversation lead to the rest of the day and the rest of the events?
Well, the MO for the Somali pirates, the pirates are different. The active area now, merchant mariners are putting up with us off Nigeria. Pretty much then, we prepared for our procedures. What was that first part of the question? I'm sorry.
What was the conversation when they first got to the bridge? What was the conversation with you?
Okay.
Of what they wanted?
Yeah, when the pirates basically just wanted to take us back to Somalia, wait, the normal was 2 or 3 or 4 months. The money gets dropped on the deck from a helicopter or ultralight, and then the pirates grab the money and leave the ship, and then they let the ship go if it has enough fuel, water, or it could even get underway. So that was the normal MO for the pirates in Somalia. Now, when they boarded, as I said, the chief engineer had shut the ship down. We were drifting. We were dead in the water. The pirates didn't realize that. The pirates went over and tried to start it again. They told me to stop the engine, stop the ship. I said, I can't start the ship. I said, you broke it. I had to be strong enough to convince them that their problems were their fault, not mine. So I'm just telling them, no, you broke it. I told you what to do. And so they were starting to get a little upset at that. And then they were starting to get upset that they can't find anybody on the whole ship. And after a couple, I want to say maybe an hour and a half, the chief engineer had made it to the emergency generator room and shut everything down. We were dark. All of a sudden, the AC went quiet. The lights were flickering out. We couldn't hear the rumble of the main engine. As I said, now we were dead in the water. The chief had shut us down. Chief engineer did a great job. And now they were worried about that. So now they can't find anybody on the whole ship. The ship won't go, and they're trying to tell me, make the ship go. Make the ship go, we'll shoot you. I said, I can't make it go. You broke it. And they finally accepted that. They tried to push buttons and things, and of course it couldn't go. The chief had secured it. And after that, and they can't find anybody, they're starting to get quizzical. Now their first two steps are successful. Now their third step and fourth step are not successful. What they wanted to do was get all the crew together and control. And that was their procedures, where I would do my defense against. And so we're not being able to find my crew. They can't find anybody else. They're drifting. They've lost their skiff because it was overturned and sunk after they boarded along with their ladder. And they're getting more and more worried. And they don't understand. They did take me around a few times to try to find my missing crew, constantly asking me, where's the crew? Where's the crew? And my answer was always the same. I don't know where the crew is. I'm here with you. Well, after more than a few hours, it was about 12 or 13 hours total on the ship with the pirates. After a while, they get sick of me going around and trying to find the crew, and they take my sailor below deck. And once the sailor, he goes down with the pirate, and they're leading him through the ship trying to find my missing crew. He brings them to the engine room, and then they jump him, the pirate, the leader of the pirates. They jump him in the engine room. So now my crew has the leader of the pirates, and he's in the engine room under their control. And now we're talking on the radio, and that's when my crew came up, and we started with a plan where they'll get off the ship. We'll give them their leader back. And they can all steam off to Somalia. We'll agree their attempt had failed. As they walked around the ship, they had noticed things. They noticed our rescue boat. They noticed our lifeboat. Since their skiff was gone, I guess they were thinking about an ulterior way to exit the ship if they couldn't get it going. So after a while, they got very frustrated. Now their leader is missing. They actually were going to send me to go find their leader. I was explaining to them that radio signal in a metal ship is very convoluted. It's very broken up. He's probably just down low somewhere. And so they wanted me to go find the leader in my AB to bring him back. Well, I said, I'm tired of walking around. Send him, the third mate. I said, send him to go find him. And the third mate went to go find the pirate leader in the AB. And I'm going, I sure hope he doesn't come back. Well, one of the humorous things was I was able to follow his, where he walked in the ship by our watertight door indicator. So I was able to see a door open, green, and closed, red. And I saw him go all the way down to the lowest part of the ship, the best hiding place. I was glad he went there. And he went to the emergency fire pump room in the lowest part of the ship at hold number 2, I believe it was. And so he hid and got away. So that just left me and one other crew on the bridge. So that allowed us to get down to me and one other crew. Now, at the end, we were trying to get him to get off. We're giving options. At one point, I gave him a rabbit gun. I gave him, I believe it was about 30 grand I had in the safe. I figured this way they'll at least get some kind of win. Maybe they'll leave and be happy with that. It was hopeful thinking. So I gave him the money to try and give him a rabbit gun, give him some win so they could leave. leave, and they took the money happily. Later in the lifeboat, they actually started splitting up the money. And it was one of the humorous things. The leader would take 100 and go 1 to his pile, and then take a 5, 1, or 10 and go 1, 1, 1, 1, and then go 2, 100 to his pile, and take a 5 or a 1 or a 10, 2, 2, 2, 2 to his buddies, and they didn't understand. So that was in the lifeboat. It was sort of a humorous part of the time in the lifeboat. So as far as getting him into the lifeboat, we gave him that option. We initially got in the rescue boat. It broke down, and this is one criticism I have of myself. I was in a problem-solving position. That's what all captains do, is solve problems. They don't deal with good things. So I just went into a problem-solving mode of trying to get this boat going again. As the SEALs told me later, it would have been over a lot sooner if in an open boat if we had just stayed there. What I should have done is told the now Captain Shane Murphy to go ahead and take off. You got the leader, and take off, and you'll be free. That's what I should have done. But I got tunnel vision and started to fix it. My crew dropped the lifeboat down, and we got into the lifeboat. And that's one thing a lot of people don't know. My third engineer and my bosun came down in that lifeboat, and they put themselves in harm's way. And I just told them, get out here as soon as you can, so they wouldn't take them, because the pirates did have them at that point. But they did the boat. We got into the boat, and then we came alongside to make the exchange. Their leader for me. The crew set up a one-way ladder. They released the pirate into the lifeboat, and then he came into the lifeboat, and then they didn't let me go. It's another lesson I learned. Never trust the pirate. But I gotta say, my crew did an excellent job. They never controlled the ship. They never hijacked the ship. The crew was in control the whole time. That they were in the backup safety room. As I discovered when I went around with the pirates, and they were able to help keep the pirates from attaining their goal. So it's just another thing where, even though we fail the first or second time, you got to keep going, and eventually things will change, hopefully for the better. And that's what helped us. My crew, as I said, did a great job. And it was one of the humorous times again when we're in the lifeboat. My chief mate and my crew were talking to the pirates. They asked for food and things like that. And that's when the pirates just couldn't get it. All my crew were outside, and they couldn't find my crew for 12 or 13 hours on the ship. So that started the time in the lifeboat once we get off the ship.
So at what point during this whole 12 or 13-hour ordeal is the U.S. Navy notified? How does that get done?
Well, there is a security system. I don't want to go into that. So they knew almost immediately when the pirate skiff was maybe 1.5 2 miles away. We sent that directive out. Also, while I was on the bridge with the pirates, with multiple alarms going off, I was able to send alarms or the HFMF and VHF saying that we had a problem. But with security signal, it tells you it's a security problem. It's probably a piracy or terrorist problem. So that was activated even before they got within a mile of the ship. So
Wow.
that right there was the initial notification to all the RC rescue centers throughout the world as it goes through the satellite.
Oof. So you're on the ship, you're on the lifeboat. It's got to be, I mean, that's like a metal coffin. That's got to be X amount of 100 degrees in there, with the sun in the middle of the ocean, unbearable at times, I'm sure, which contributes to the rest of the stress you're going through with what's going on. At what point, on top of that, Rich,
Yeah.
at what point do you go, all right, this is bad. This is not, this is not going well. Like when does it, like reality of what's going on hit you?
Well, really, once the shooting started before they even got to the ship, I thought that this was bad. No, really, ironically, it felt like a win for me. Once we got in the lifeboat, they only had me. My ship was still in the piracy area, so still under hazard, but no longer on pirates aboard. So for me, it was actually a win-win. Actually, when I was putting the rescue boat in the water, my chief engineer and my chief mate were up on the bridge above me, and as I'm telling the pirates what to do to kick this boat out and lower it, and they're sort of watching me, and I'm telling them, just be careful. I'll let you know if any of them leave, because they put themselves in danger to make sure that we left. Um, on the lifeboat, I really felt like it was almost a semi-win. Now all I had to do was escape for me, and I always thought, and that was my plan. I think if I'm by myself, I can escape, and I thought I could. So actually, that first night, I didn't have a chance. I had to be flexible, refuse to give in, wait for the right moment. I had called my now Captain Shane Murphy. He's running the ship now. I said, hey, if you see a splash out the back door, that's me. Come and get me. I didn't have a chance to get away that first night. But the second night, about 01, 0200, doesn't everything happen at 0:30? One of the two pirates from the aft vertical door, they always have two with AK-47s by the aft vertical door, one by the forward hatch and one in the coxswain position. He's above and abaft me. Well, all of a sudden, one of the two guys by the aft vertical door gets up. He walks by me, goes to the forward end, lays down. Pretty soon, I can hear what I think two people snoring from the bow. I'm now watching the leader, and he's acting like he's had a bad movie. I'm watching him, and he's sort of nodding and dozing and drooping. I'm thinking I can get by him. And all of a sudden, the fourth pirate, he was by the aft vertical door, it was AK. He ducks out the hatch. He stands on a little platform in the aft part of that lifeboat. And I'm wondering to myself, what in the heck is he doing? Perhaps you can guess. Even pirates have to go to the bathroom. So for me, another lucky fact in his call of nature, there's fortunately no delicate or refined way to explain it in mixed company other than say that this guy, is one of those guys who uses two hands when going. It was very important to me. It meant he had to put down his AK-47. Well, I can remember sitting on that thwart thinking, Richard, don't get any better than this. You got two snoring and sleeping, one nodding and dozing, one heeding nature's call. I stopped rubbing my legs to make sure I could stand because I've been sitting for a while. And I finally stand up. I take two strides. I get by the guy in the coxswain position. I duck out the hatch. I push the pirate, had to push him twice. And he goes into the water screaming. For a second, I had a chance to grab that AK-47, but at the time, I didn't know how to use one. I do now. And I just dove in the water. And I dove in the water, went underwater, took a breath, went back underwater, took a breath. I'm completely out of breath. I turn. I see the Navy ship about a quarter mile away. I turn to the lifeboat. And unfortunately, the now wet screaming pirate, his screams have woken the three sleeping pirates. And as Easterers want to do, that big, full, beautiful moon comes out behind a cloud, and it's like daylight on the ocean out there. And they can see my head in the water, and they come after me. And pretty much as they approach me, I dive under. I hanging on a pole or a lifeline that encircles that lifeboat. I'm listening to their footsteps and their yells, and as it gets closer, I dive under and go to the other side. But the fifth time, I pop up on the forward starboard side, and fortunately, one of the pirates is there. He has his AK, he fires once by my head, and make another quick, flexible adjustment to my plans, and say, okay, you got me, and they bring me back aboard, and they were not happy, hitting me with the butts of the pistol and the AKs, yelling and screaming. I didn't follow the proper procedures of a hostage. They then trussed me up so tight, I have some numbness and scars on my wrists and my ankles, yelling and screaming, they're irate. But, it's something I learned, if you don't give in, if you don't quit, if you refuse to give in, if you just stay in the game, you have a chance. And as I said, more likely something will change to hopefully make your situation better, not worse. And so you just have to keep working, keep plugging. As I said, you never know how close you are to success with that last failure. So you just have to keep going. So for me, I didn't see a good ending pretty much. And once I get in a lifeboat, I'm going to try and escape. I didn't see a good ending, but, I go back to things, your tough times, you go back to lessons you learned. And some things my parents told me. One thing my my mother told me, and I said that often in that lifeboat, this too shall pass. one way or another, this too shall pass. So that was my little mantra. And then also, something my father told me, and he used different adjectives. He said, if you're gonna do something right. Few more words after that. So I just said, this doesn't look good. I'm probably going to fail, but I'm not going to be bad in failure. I'm going to do the best I can and let it go the way it goes. And so pretty much that was my mentality at the time. I knew I couldn't push them. There are times I would give them a hard time, and I couldn't let them physically hurt me, because if they physically hurt me, I couldn't escape. So when they beat me and hit me, I'd act, I'd really take it, and act scared. And I was scared. I don't think I said that yet. I was scared shitless through the whole thing. So uh, I am not a brave man. I just did the best I can. So in that situation, I didn't see a good success. So just do the best you can. If you're gonna fail, do the best you can. Don't let it be because you're the idiot or did something bad or didn't do something. So for me, that was my attitude, pretty much from once they got me back aboard on Friday morning to the end. And they would do things to control me. I understand now they really were just trying to control me. If they killed me, they knew they were dead. But they were committed. I'll say that. And they would do things to get me. They were playing mind games with me, tying knots, telling me of Somali sailors superior to American sailors. They all wanted to come to America, our terrible country here. They all wanted to come here and work here. And they said that in the lifeboat. But they at times they would put me through mock ritual executions with a gun to my head. On Saturday, the last time they did it, it went on for about an hour and a half. They had an AK, and the guy just kept on dry firing it. Now, to begin with, when you see a barrel of a gun looking at you, which I've seen before, it looks pretty big, like the Eisenhower 12-inch gun. So that's very scary when you look down that. And this last time, they would put me through a mock ritual execution. At times, they would want me to physically stand on a exposure chute because it's orange. Now, later I was told that that's because of Abu Ghraib, when they had them in the orange suits. But for some reason, they wanted me to be on that. And they also wanted me to make sure I was dirty. They tried to force me to eat before they did this, or make sure I wasn't clean. That was some other part of that mock execution things they were trying to get me. But they were just trying to get to control me. I understand that now. During that last time, I did get fed up. In the beginning, when they start, you get very nervous with a gun to your head, and it's just clicking. And the leader, who was in perfect role the whole time, he was an asshole. He was just criticizing me. Poor military posture. Poor military posture. Because I was like this, and every click, you're waiting for that. Well, if they keep doing that, after a while, it loses its cachet. And so by Saturday morning, they started this. This went on for about an hour and a half. I lost count after about 75 times the trigger was pulled. And finally, I got fed up. I turned around to him and said, hey, would you idiots get someone back there who can shoot that damn thing? And it was just some of the things that they would do to mess with my minds. At times, they would tell me that my family would miss me as if I was already dead. Preconceived notion. They were telling me that they actually worked for the U.S. Navy and also for my company, and they were just checking the security on my ship. And we even had this conversation as we neared the Somali coast. One of the taller pirates told me, yeah, when we got to Somalia, he'd take me to the movies and introduce me to his girlfriend's mom as my date. Well, it all made me pissed off but so it made me even more determined not give them the satisfaction of seeing me give in. I was not going to give them that satisfaction. I would not give in, so I just maintained my posture. I did want to have them see me as a person. On Saturday afternoon was a kind of scary time. We heard a buzzing, just a I think I know what it was, but to see the people with the guns have abject fear in their face, they thought they were under imminent attack, They tried to put a blindfold on me and put a gun to a guy with my head, and they made it very clear to me that if someone tried to get in that lifeboat, I was the one who was going to get the first shot. They made that very clear, and and they were just slinking back into the dock, into the ports on the lifeboat. You could see that fear that I had and felt, but you could see the fear in the people with the guns, and that is not a good thing. So they would put a blindfold, have a guy with the AK, and I would just keep on knocking it off because I wanted to be looking in that guy's face when he shot me. I wanted to make sure he just knew he was shooting a person. For some reason, I thought that was important. And the leader would walk by me and see I'd knock the thing off, slap me in the head, and put the blindfold back on. And I just take it off and go, "What are you going to do? Hit me in the head? What are you going to do? Shoot me? What are you going to do?" Because I thought that was going to be the end, and I wanted to be I wanted to be present at the end.
So all this is going on. Meanwhile, U.S. Navy SEALs are on the deck of the Maersk, rifles trained, snipers ready to go. Were you aware that that was
Oh,
happening?
no, I had no idea. I knew because the Bainbridge made it there, number 96 made it there very quick, probably 2 or 3 in the morning on Friday or late Thursday. Very early they got there. And the Navy was on scene. The SEALs got there a little later, and that's what one thing they told me. I've actually seen the drone footage of me escaping and being caught and pulled back in. That's one thing, because when I did escape, I thought all I had to do was separate myself and something would happen. I didn't know the SEALs were there, but I knew 3 Navy gray ships were there as I'd seen them out the aft vertical door. And I figured if I just separated myself, something would happen. Well, what they told me is when I dove off, they thought it was a pirate because the pirates would frequently jump off, go to the bathroom, whatever, get cool, get back on, but they never left the side of the ship. They never let go of that lifeboat because they couldn't swim. Whereas I was, probably 50, 60 feet away from the lifeboat at the Bahamas. So I saw that clip. They thought it was a pirate going into the water and coming back out, and they didn't know till I got out and they saw my white on my beard that they realized it was me. So I didn't know the Navy was there. Indeed, the first time they came by the rib boats, or the Navy SEALs were there, they came by, and I just remember looking at this kid who looked young, clean shaven, khaki uniform. I said, "Oh, this must be an ensign," and his boss sent him out to face 2 AK-47s in a lifeboat. And I go, "That poor guy." Well, it turns out he was a cleaned up Navy SEAL that I didn't know. But I had no idea the Navy SEAls were there.
Was there, depicted in the movie, was there a negotiation going on in the lifeboat with the Navy that you could overhear? So did you understand what was going on with you being in that boat?
Oh,
Was there a
understood the
negotiation going on?
Yeah, I understood the situation, how it worked. It was a little different than taking a whole ship and a whole thing, but I understood that. And I explained to the pirates, "Yeah, they're never going to let you get me to the beach. We're all going to die in this lifeboat. You can let me go, and they may let you go, but we're never going to get out of this lifeboat alive if you try and continue escaping." So I made that point to them very clear. And there was actually a time where it's almost as if they were deciding what to do. Now, I heard the Navy talking. They were in constant communication, but they weren't talking in English all the time. Sometimes the pirates would talk in English, but the majority of the time it was a different language. So I really didn't know what was going on in that regard as far as the ransom negotiations. So they were in constant communication, but I didn't know everything that was going on.
Okay, so as somebody who saw this in the theater, the point of the movie where you are in that rescue boat with the 3 armed Somalis, and then the shots ring out, is a moment that takes everyone's breath away. It's a moment that makes you sit up. Whoa! It's very shocking to even see on screen depicted. What was that moment like for you?
Me, really, it was. I was fed up. I was tired. A little mad, frustrated, and so one thing about me, I live in Vermont, as you know, and I hate the heat. And it was very, very hot in there. I likened it to spending 15 to 20 hours a day in the sauna. And I hate the heat. And it weren't 85 degrees and I'm hurting. And it was hot in there. It was very hot. And then they were constantly jumping in to get cool. And after a while, I just stood up and said, I'm going to jump in the water, get cool. And they started yelling at me, sit down, get down, sit down. I said, I'm going to jump in the water, get cool. Then I gave them very basic instructions on what they could do to themselves. I took one, maybe two steps forward. One grabbed my leg, one my waist, when all of a sudden the younger one fired his AK. Possible to describe how loud a noise that makes in a small enclosed space. It got my attention. I've come to be familiar with that sound. And I sat back down like they told me. But that shot scared the two taller pirates, and they started yelling at the younger one. What did you do? What did you do? You see, they knew that if I was dead, there was nothing to keep the pirates from the Navy from storming the lifeboat and killing the pirates. But as long as I was alive, they believed the U.S. government would do absolutely nothing. So, so after that, I did as they told me, and all of a sudden, outside the lifeboat, you heard a voice, an American voice, and it said, "What's the problem? What's going on in there?" Well, I was fed up. I actually turned down in the center aisle. I'm on all fours. I'm facing forward. And two of the toilets are yelling out, relax, no problem, no military action, relax, no problem. The younger one was, he's sitting in the coxswain position. He was sulking. He had a tough Easter Sunday day too. They were coming to blows and cussing at him almost as much as me. And he was just sulking in the windows. And they're yelling out, no military action, no military action. And that's when the shots rang out. I got covered with debris, and then when it shot, I jumped back into my seat and was hugging that deck so hard, probably the only thing that would have been shot on me would have been my rear end. And they knew where I sat, because at times when they'd come by for IV signs of life, give us water, give us radio batteries, if I wasn't sitting there, they would ask, where do I sit? And I always go, I sit here. This is where I sit. This is my seat. So that's how they knew where I was, and they took the initial shots, and they thought they failed. So they just kept firing at the lifeboat. What they heard was yelling and screaming, and they thought the pirate was coming around to finish me off. So they just kept firing into the lifeboat. They knew where my seat was, so they were able to avoid me. Well, what they were hearing was, I thought I was caught in a crossfire from three crazy pirates, and they're shooting at each other from each end of the lifeboat. And I'm yelling out, what the heck are you guys doing? I didn't realize it was the Navy SEALs, who were shooting. And then all of a sudden, when I picked my head up, it was quiet. The days of taunting, torture, heat, there was just nothing. And then a voice says, are you all right? Is it safe? And then he came down the forward hatch. It was a U.S. Navy SEAL thinking his buddies had failed and missed one of the pirates. Thinking on his own, he went down that tow rope, slid down that tow rope, landed on that lifeboat, and had no idea what he was about to face. But he just knew he was going to make up for his brothers, in that mission. And then he came down. And it really wasn't until I was being hoisted up the main deck to the Bay Bridge that I realized that I'm alive. I made it. I'm out of there. And the real heroes of this story is not me. I did some of my job, not all of it. I didn't keep them off my ship. Our military, and especially our Navy SEALs, the dedication they have to one another and the precision in which they execute their missions proves on beyond any doubt that a well-trained team can overcome most any obstacle, solve most any problem. The sum being greater than the parts, and that's something that I've learned. Really is about failure. Failure is not the end. Failure is just the second, third, or fourth step. So we have to keep going. We have to keep persevering. And the last thing is what I take away is we're all stronger than we even know. I didn't think I was strong enough. I started being really impressed by the strength and resistance my crew was displaying, but also I was surprised at the strength I had, that I could keep it up. I just knew that I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to give in. We're going to the end, no matter how it finally ends up. So, for me, it was a case of teamwork. I would still be there if it wasn't for my crew. If it wasn't for that drill, it's teamwork that overcame the problems. And much like the pirates, their first two steps were successes, but they didn't know that they have to be successful in every step. Now, when they first got on, they asked me to call their handler. I knew the country code, so I knew it was to Somalia. And they watch as I put the LED display in, and as I put it in, they'd make sure I wasn't fooling around. It wouldn't go through. And I just said, "Oh, it must be bad cell service," and they were sort of quizzical about that. That's their procedure. Now we got to contact the leader. Well, as they're looking at the telephone, I went to the radar and denigrated that. So you wouldn't have seen an aircraft carrier next to us if there had been one that day. And that's where he went to next, was the radar, looking for his mothership over the horizon, trailing us. And now he saw nothing, and now he's puzzled. Wait a minute, they're supposed to be waiting for this. While he's looking at the radar, I went to the VHF and turned that from 16 international calling to distress frequency, which we all monitor. And he went to that next. And then Somali, I guess, I don't know what language, he was calling, I assume, for his mothership and got no answer. Now he's perplexed. Now he's wondering. Now it's not going very good. And that's when, because we didn't quit, we started getting back in the game. And my crew got us back in the game by not giving in, by not quitting, by persevering.
Wow. Incredible. Unbelievable. The one question, towards the end of this that I have, and it's a question that we asked Taya Kyle when she was on our show about American Sniper. When you live through this, it's your story. Watching it as a movie with Tom Hanks playing you, is that a little weird? Now it's a story that you've told and have in your head, but now you're watching it in this enormous theater. How is that to do that, to go through that?
I'm not a big media guy. I'm not a big movie guy. Tom Hanks is a great actor. He's done some great movies, and he's a great guy. I got to meet him a few times. I never really thought the movie would be made. After all this, I was just attacked by writers, directors, all sorts of people, and it just is crazy. And that's one thing that we have to look at, how we attack the families of people who get caught in certain situations. The media is just really crazy and mad. They don't care about veracity. They care about headlines and bylines. That's all they care about. So for me, when it's over, to see that, when in the beginning they said, "Who do you want to play you?" And I said, "Well, there's not going to be no movie made. Who cares?" So I said, Queen Latifah or was it? Danny DeVito. I said, they're too good actors.
Yeah.
That's doing it. But I didn't really think a movie would be made. And then I explained how many movies do get made. So it's strange, but it is just a movie. I think they did a great job with it. I think it's more accurate than 2 documentaries that were put out a couple of weeks after the incident. But it is a movie, and it's made for entertainment, and it did show the tenseness, the conditions, where the conditions were a little worse. The pirates weren't as nice. There maybe wasn't that much talking as in the movie between us, but it was a good movie. And as far as just seeing someone play it, it wasn't what it was. What the movie shows is, I'll go through that before I went through the one I went through. It's a movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I've seen it once. The only movies I watched twice are Das Boat and Band of Brothers, and that's about it. So once I read a book or see a movie, that's it.
When it comes to the safety of law enforcement, first responders, and military personnel, every moment counts, especially in the dark. Streamlight provides the reliable, high-performance lighting solutions that these heroes trust in the most dangerous situations, whether it's a car stop, navigating dark alleyways, or exploring abandoned buildings. With Streamlight by their side, our heroes can tackle challenges with confidence, knowing they have the power of advanced lighting technology to guide them. From the first responders on the front lines to the law enforcement officers ensuring our safety, Streamlight is there to make every mission a little easier and much safer. Join us in supporting those who protect us. Visit Streamlight.com to discover how you can be part of the team keeping our heroes safe. Because when they shine, we all shine.
Well, I think this, first of all, it's an incredible story, and it's a tribute to you and your men and a lot of basic concepts that you hit on: training, teamwork, perseverance, etc. All of which were displayed by you and your crew. But it also hits on themes of, um, if you're an American, you gotta love that no matter where you are in the world, if you're in this kind of trouble, there's a chance our military can come through like this for you. And I remember as an American, when I heard about this story and it was on the news, I was like, wow, our Navy SEALs did what? Just incredible level. And it showed the whole world, fool around and find out kind of thing. We are capable, more capable than you think. But this story is compelling because the character that Tom Hanks played, which was you, I think he very successfully put forward the concept that you were not going to give up, that you had intestinal fortitude, and as you mentioned before, more strength than you knew. And I think that's a good lesson for anybody who watches this movie or reads the book or just even hears this show, your interview or any interview you've done, is that as a human being, we have more strength in us than we know. We have more capability with to endure and come through situations, stress, trauma, crisis, and so that's a lesson. You're leaving a legacy of not just one event, but of human character and human strength that I think people can draw from. I think that's one of the reasons why this story is so
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, it's one thing, like you said, that I take away at the end of the movie. See those three ships, uh, 25, 3,000 people, planes, people, intelligence, Air Force, helicopters. How much effort to go through for one man, one man. And that's what I come away from. Really, the only thing that I come away with that gets me emotional, one, as I write about in my book, is I didn't write things when I was seeing the end. I went through something mentally in my brain. I wanted to be ready for the end. And I said something to my wife, my son, my daughter, and I just remember thinking, "Oh, my wife, she's a nurse. She's tough. She'll cry for a week. She'll be all right." My daughter, oh, she's emotional as a Italian opera. She'll cry for a month, but she's strong. She'll be all right. I remember my son, and even now it gets me. And I don't know why I thought like that. I go, did I make my son strong enough? Uh, and that's something that went through my mind. The other thing that gets me is one time in that lifeboat, I was looking out the aft vertical door. The Bainbridge was there. They had two people on the deck, one with a camera, one with a looked like a 50 caliber. And I remember thinking, geez, I wish they used that other one more than that camera. And then I saw the flag, and behind the flag, the United States flag, on the stern was the sun. And it was right behind that flag. And I remember looking at it. And even parades today, when I see that, I do get a little emotional. I remember seeing it and I go, oh, I'm not alone. And that really, really gave me more strength. Just seeing that people are with me. I'm not alone. Someone has my back. I'm okay. And really, those are two things that still affect me today.
Wow. You know what, Rich, what a perfect ending to this interview with that answer. What a absolute perfect answer. Bow tie on a incredible interview, involving your situation, what you went through, your leadership in thinking of your crew and what you did to survive. And God bless you, Captain. What an incredible story. And we're honored that you were able to join us today.
Go. I think he already did bless me. I think it's power of prayer. That's one thing where when I go around, I meet people, they tell me, in different churches or just groups or just together, how they prayed for me, they thought of me, they cared for me. And I think there's power in that. I don't think I was alone in that lifeboat.
Well, God, you were not alone, and God's plan was to bring you back to your lovely wife, Andrea, who is off camera, but I know she's there. And she deserves a shout out for what she went through all your seafaring experiences and years and wondering and hoping you're okay. And I'm just very happy for the two of you. You're together, you have your life, and you're alive to share your story. So thank you for that. We have one piece we like to throw out at the end of a show now. We're going to be incorporating this in now with our guests. A little bit of
All
fun.
right.
lighten it up.
A little bit of fun. It's called the firing line. We haven't come up with the title yet. It's either firing line or firing range or something. We'll come up with it later. That's why we have a amazing editor or producer of our show. They'll take care of that for us. So we got 7 quick questions for you, and we're just gonna rattle them off. And this is kind of the fun part of the show. So you ready?
All right.
All right. Your favorite book?
Favorite book? Tolkien, The Hobbit. The only book I've read twice.
Okay.
Okay.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Band of Brothers of Das Boot. Tie.
Favorite late night snack?
Favorite late night snack? I don't want to play favorites. I do all of them.
Okay. Your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. My biggest fear.
That was all in make believe.
Well, I can tell you the only nightmare I've ever had from this incident. I don't know if it's fear, but after I was rescued, I came home, had my favorite meal, chicken pot pie and a few beers. I went to bed and I woke up probably 4 in the morning. I'm sweating, I'm shaking, and I go downstairs. I'm getting a glass of water, and I very seldom dream. And my wife comes down and she goes, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "Yeah, Jointer, I believe this dream I just had." And she goes, "What was it?" And she goes, "I just dreamed that this all took place in the studio where we landed on the moon. It's all a fake. I'm a liar." And I just went through, and I actually, did I go through that? Did I make that up? Did I, that sort of thing. And I'll say one other thing, that people didn't understand, and that's about Sully. I never understood when Sully did that, and he's a hero, what he did, how intelligent he is, how he was looking out the window and knew his situational awareness, what he did. And until I watched that movie, which I enjoyed thoroughly, because it went into the psychological, they were blaming him. And that's sort of what I was going through. Am I too old to be a captain? Did I screw up? Did I almost kill my people? And that's really what I liked about that film, because that's what I was going through and heard, and that's what he went through and heard. And how can you do that to him?
Wow. Great answer. 2 more. We know you're a water guy. You love the water. What's your other go-to activity?
Oh, that's easy. I'm dying here. I'm jonesing. Snowmobiling. I love the snow. When it snows, I get excited. I love shoveling. So
Wow.
that's what I do. That's why I love Vermont. It's all so waiting. Hopefully I'll be snowmobiling this afternoon.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, last one. We have to throw a cop question in
All
there.
right.
So, if you were a cop, who would you pick as your partner?
If I was a cop, who would I pick as a partner? Wow. No, not my wife. Different cops, maybe. Who would I pick as a partner? I think I would pick a veteran.
Very good. Love
Excellent. Outstanding.
If not that,
Well,
a cop.
thank you for being the first. What was
If
that?
not that, a cop.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being the first test dummy, so to speak, of our firing squad round, so to speak. And thank you also, Captain Richard Phillips, for sharing your amazing, one-of-a-kind story, for being so upfront, for being so approachable, for allowing us this time entering into your home with you. We know our audience is going to love it. We can't wait to see the feedback. And we just wish you and your wife and family all the best in everything that you're doing going forward. May God bless you, and may you continue to live for many more years snowmobiling around Vermont and then having chicken pot pie and beer.
That sounds like a great day.
It does to me.
So, to echo Dan, this is why we put the show together. To have people like you on to tell these incredible stories of true life and heroism and trauma and all that. And what a way to start off season 4. Captain Rich Phillips, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to hear the story firsthand from you. And this is the time of the show that we kind of say a prayer for our law enforcement officers and our military vets and everyone out there, because they need our prayers, they need our support. They do a thankless job locally, in the country, overseas, everywhere, and they need our support and prayers, because what they go through, 90% of the people in this country would never do. So please keep them in your prayers, keep them in your mind. And as always, just because it's another season, don't forget about our website, TheGoldShieldShow.com, all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything else, and our merchandise, justaskjan.com, JUSASKJAN.com, to get all your Gold Shields merchandise. For an incredible, unforgettable guest of Captain Richard Phillips and my partner Dan Murphy, this is Tom Smith for Gold Shields. Everyone out there, stay safe, and we'll see everybody soon.